You guys, let's get a tan and do a Q&A. Welcome. I was going to do this Q&A on a podcast episode, but I thought, why do it on a podcast episode when I can do it here? I feel like my microphone is extremely loud. If I have it here, is better. I think this is actually better. Anyways, let's do a Q&A. We're gonna sit by the pool, we're gonna get a tan, and we're going to answer some questions, all right? The first question is, what did you injure? I have, in several of my vlogs, been talking about injury, and I talked about what was going on in my last vlog, but, I don't expect everyone to watch all my vlogs, so I will explain it to you here. What did I injure? My ego, truly. Nothing crazy. I was dealing with a lot of essentially overtraining, an extended period of overtraining. I did not prep a deload at all. I didn't phase out my training very well, and so what happened was I did the opposite of what I would have ever suggested a client to do, and I had a 12-week training block, and I just tried to full send through an entire training block with pretty high mileage for me as a new runner. It was 30 miles a week. I was in summer training, so it was very hot, which is it's not just harder in the sense of it's hotter. You're actually taking more damage. The recovery is a little bit longer. And also I was doing very high intensity training sessions because I was training for a mile, so my intensity increased. When you try to maintain volume, increase intensity, the heat is an element that is challenging, and also I was doing all of this without any kind of scheduled deload, and I was traveling. It just was a recipe for pain, and so I was nursing a couple strains. I started with a left calf strain. That left calf strain essentially forced force to move up the chain, because in my running I likely was not plantar flexing as well because my calf was strained, so my hamstring and my adductor were taking more of the hit, and then when my hamstring and adductor strained, my hip was like, I guess we got to take up the heat here. So then my hip started hurting like crazy, and that's where it ended. It was just, my hip was absolutely throbbing pain. Every single training session that I did was hurting, and so things were not great. I have since taken a full week off of running, and I have decreased intensity of my runs for the past couple weeks, and that's where we're at. I did go on a half-mile run, I will say, finishing out my walk today, and it was amazing. So I'm hopeful. that I'm back. Really, truthfully, it was just I had overtrained. And so I was worried that I'd overtrained so much that it was going to be a several week recovery process. But I think I might have caught it soon enough. Probably okay. We'll see. Find out. You guys will stay in the loop via these vlogs. So I'm not kidding you guys. I went on a walk today. I have tan lines from my walk at 8:30 this morning. Unreal. How can I strength train first at 4 a.m. and add in 2 to 3 runs a week to avoid compromising both acts? Yes, I talk about this all the time, stack intensity and also separate during the day. What does this mean? Well, we want to have harder and easier days throughout the training week so that we can undulate intensity, so that we can maximize recoverability during the training week, so that you don't burn yourself out, right? You don't get to a place where you're doing relatively hard or very hard training sessions all week long or giving up on a rest day. What this means is you might have to stack a lift and a hard quality training session run on the same day. Now, if you care the most about running, I would suggest running first to this person who's saying, how can I strength train first? I'd actually recommend running first. But if strength training is the thing and you just like to run, then strength train in the morning, and then I would separate it by several hours, a meal, some calories, some electrolytes, that kind of thing, and then get into your run later that day. If that's not possible, you can structure your week so that you have maybe one day a week where it is a hard double session, and then the other days of the week you have a run, a lift, a rest, a double session, a lift, a run, whatever. It just depends on how you're going to undulate the intensity. Is lifting the most important thing to you? Is running the most important thing to you? And how much time do you have? Ideally, though, you kind of stack them together, and you... I had to take a sip. And when you stack them together, you stack them the same day, but separated by lots of calories and lots of rest. If you're only strength training, 2 times a week, and you're running 2 to 3 times a week, you can easily fit that into your training week. I mean, you don't need to stack those days. It's more for the people who are like, I'm trying to run 5 days a week and I'm trying to lift 2 to 3 days a week. Something's got to give, right? There's more on this in some of my podcast episodes. I talk about stacking intensity, and then also this is a big thing that I modulate as well in my coaching with my clients. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Obviously, I'm happy to help you, and my podcast episodes are there for you. They're a free resource. Use them. Is my back hurting from doing deadlifts, or do I need more deadlifts for a stronger back? That is the question, truly. Cody asked that. Cody, that is the question. Both, probably. So my back is hurting from doing more deadlifts. Yeah, if form is a problem, if your form is really poor, or you're just adding in deadlifts out of the blue, like all of a sudden, and you're trying to increase both volume, which is adding in the deadlifts themselves, doing sets of deadlifts, and you're trying to increase weight pretty rapidly. Patience is a virtue with those things, so if you're going to add in deadlifts, make sure it's strategic, make sure it's structured in your training week so that it's when you're fresh, when you're feeling good, when form is likely not going to be compromised. And then something that actually Blaine does in his training, a coach that I admire, and I love him very much. He's also my boyfriend. But what he does is he'll train deadlifts every single week, but he'll undulate the intensity every other week because deadlifts just take a lot out of him. And that's something that I also do, is I like to either have a very short block of deadlifts, regular traditional barbell deadlifts, and then I'll do a trap bar variation, or I do something along the lines of undulating intensity every other week so that I'm not getting super sore. Now, because I do think deadlifts are important. I do think they help you get a stronger back. I think they're awesome to do. Are they necessary? No. And simultaneously, are there better variations? Potentially, like a trap bar deadlift variation is a great variation to do. Form is also important. And do we have prerequisite stability in our body to be able to deadlift across time for many weeks and increase weight and not feel pain, right? That's another thing that I would look at. If you don't lift very often, you're new to deadlifting, you're new to strength training in general, right? Deadlift might not be the first movement that I'd suggest, or a traditional barbell deadlift variation, that is. I might suggest something like a kettlebell deadlift or a trap bar variation. These are all things that I would look at doing, or just other hip dominant exercises via a machine where you're more externally stabilized. Long-winded answer. The answer is both. Your back might be hurting doing deadlifts. You also might want to do deadlifts for a stronger back, but it's how you program them, how often, and how the form is done, and what is your training history. Do you have any injuries? All of these things matter. So let me Yoda your Yoda. And that is the answer to my question, or to your question. I've Yoda'd myself. I don't even know what's happening. Lauren asks, give us some nutrition hot takes. My God. Okay, so as someone who more water. As someone who has struggled with nutrition her whole life, in that I have had severe struggles with disordered eating disorders, I have a lot of hot takes. And one is nutrition is so individual and it's for you. And I think everyone wants to outsource it and compare and look at other things in social media and what other people post based on their own credibility or their body or whatever. And it's just I think cutting that noise helps more than you think. So my biggest nutrition hot take is I really freaking can't stand, honestly, influencers who monetize their eating habits, because it truly is so individual. They know this. Oftentimes they're only showcasing what they want to show. The way that their body looks and their physique and their training habits is them, and it does have to do with their nutrition, but it also has to do with other things. How many years have they been training? What kind of style of training are they doing? It also is just going to end up confusing people because everybody's different. So that's my nutrition hot take, is stick to you. Spend less time on social media looking at what other people are doing, and be confident knowing that what you're doing is probably the right thing. If it's primarily whole foods, enjoying the social component of food, also enjoying the connection component of food, and getting enough protein, that kind of thing, drinking water. If you do want real help, I suggest just going off and hiring somebody to help you, so that, again, you're not looking at 150,000 different sources via social media and comparing and then getting lost in the sauce and overwhelmed. I also think that doing anything drastic, cutting out entire food groups, and really getting strict and tyrannical over your food and your diet is also not great. What's another hot take? That might be, I don't even know if these are hot takes. It's just my rant. Ooh, a hot take would be, I really do think that sugar is more harmful than people realize. I do think that artificial sweeteners do contribute to things like brain fog and sugar cravings and inflammation. I use these things. I both eat sugar and I also consume artificial sweeteners. And so I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I have personally, anecdotally noticed a huge difference when those things are cut out or severely limited versus when they're not. Because I don't think that just cutting out an entire thing is necessarily a healthy thing to do. I just try to be aware. I just try to be aware and mindful of when I consume those things and what I feel like when I consume them, and then move on with my life, because sugar is good and artificial sweeteners are also pretty good, and they don't have all the calories that sugars do. So there we go. That's my hot take. There's my hot take. Oh, also, fats are good for you. Eat them. Jesus Christ. Like, I know that they're higher calorie, but good Lord, butter's awesome. Do I really need so much water during a marathon? I hate having to stop for the bathroom. Yeah, you do. In short, you do. You do need water. You do need electrolytes. Oftentimes, when people are fueling properly with their water and electrolytes, they kind of do this really delicate dance of being just hydrated enough to where their performance isn't decreased, but not so hydrated that they have to pee. I don't know how to do that dance, to be honest with you. That's something that you would want a nutrition coach for endurance athletes. But yeah, you do need a lot of water. You need a lot of water and a lot of electrolytes during a marathon. And carbs, you do. People that try to run a marathon fasted, good luck. Good luck getting a good time, that is. You just need it, you know. People who try to run fasted during a marathon, it's like, just do it for fun. You know, realize that what you're doing is clearly not for performance. Because if you're trying to do it for performance, you would understand that you need to train hydrated and fed. And hot take on that is, if you're trying to run to keep a certain physique or lose weight, yeah, I would just consider other alternatives. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. What's one running myth you think needs to die? That running is a great way to lose weight. If you're actually training for performance, running, if anything, you will gain weight because you're a little bit more inflamed. You're consuming so many carbs to try and, you know, get yourself ready for your next training session or recover from your previous training session. I also think super long distance running being super good for you, that's a myth that needs to die. Anything to the extreme is not good for you, and you're playing a dangerous game. So people running ultra marathons, backyard ultras, and even marathons in general, it's not great for you. I mean, look at elite marathon runners. A lot of them look a little bit like they're on the brink of death. I'm just going to tell you right now. And this is coming from someone, I love endurance training. I truly love it. But I also understand it is not necessarily good for you. Putting that much force on your body repetitively across time on pavement, like for weeks and weeks and months and years, and then in one duration race, like it's just not, it's hard on the body. So like running is some healthy, great for you thing. Let's let that myth die. I think that's one myth that needs to die. The fact that running and strength training don't go together beautifully, that's a myth that needs to die. I think it is dying, but every single other sport, there's an understanding that you also need to strength train to supplement your sport, have you be more powerful, more explosive, have better endurance, be healthier, stronger, safer for your sport. The fact that that doesn't apply to running for some people still. And what is one other, the smaller is faster. Obviously, yes, we see elite runners, like they're small humans, you know, but to be small at the expense of your health definitely will not make you faster. It's going to make you sicker and hurt. So that's another myth that needs to die. When is it time to push through discomfort versus back off to avoid injury? Yeah, wow, great question. Way to call me out too, my girl Haley. I think it's an awareness thing. I think it's having a coach, and I think it's a scheduling and time thing. Training will feel hard and uncomfortable. You're going to feel sore. Sometimes you'll have the little weird aches and pains. That's super normal. Having that awareness and understanding is good. Also, having a coach is helpful because the coach will be able to do two things. One, monitor sustained discomfort, hard efforts, and hard bouts. Your bias will be taken out of it, which is, I just need to tough it out and keep going. Or backing off too soon, which is, I had one hard session and I'm just going to take a rest week, you know? Also allows for somebody who understands a lot about running, training, and just overall intensity and volume metrics. They understand coaching, they understand programming. They will know when to schedule deloads so that you are safest. So you can push that line of beginning to potentially overtrain, just overreach a little bit, and then back off for a deload. And then go back into your training session and then peak right at the right time to then hit the taper to then, boom, perform optimally for your race. Programming considerations aside, I think when it's time to push through discomfort versus back off is when you have sustained weeks of both discomfort, pain, and also decreased performance, or it's very hard to maintain the performance level you need to with the amount of discomfort you're experiencing. Now, if you're your own coach, I also recommend scheduling a deload so that when you lay out your entire running block beforehand, you have the ability to pencil in, this is when I know my training is going to be the most intense. I'll have done this amount of volume and this amount of intensity for this amount of time. This is where I'm going to back up off and deload. Ideally, you do that. But if you don't and you just want to auto-regulate as the training block goes on, I would say that when you have 2 weeks of relative discomfort and also not a lot of improvements in progress and performance, maybe even a little bit of decreases in performance and progress, that is when I would take the time to back off. I've had many hard sessions where I'm super sore or I'm a little bit uncomfortable. Something's achy by the time I'm done with my warm-up, and then I get through my training session, I'll have put out some of my best numbers that I ever have. You gotta sometimes just... I think it's recording. So my device overheated, so I'm here now. I'm super sweaty. It's really hot outside. My tan lines are coming in. But yes, if you are your own coach, humble yourself, auto-regulate as efficiently as possible. That is gonna be my big tip. Those are all the questions. I don't think I got any more. I did get a question, filming anything from Iceland? Yeah, so when I do go to Iceland in late August, I will be filming, and when I end up moving there, I will obviously be filming all of that. And in the process of moving, I am recording a lot, so there will be probably a pretty long vlog on the process of getting to Iceland, moving there. If you are super lost right now on that question, my boyfriend lives in Iceland, and I'm just so helplessly in love. I'm following him there eventually. It's a long story, and it'll be all detailed in the vlog that I post. I have a lot of thoughts on it, so you guys will not be kept in the dark. Transitions in life are weird. I have no idea where life or my business or anything will take me. Anyways, on that note, to end the vlog, if you have any more questions, send them to me. Put them in the comments. I love answering these. I think I want to do cool Q&As like this where we just sit, chill, relax. And I don't want them to be podcast episodes. I like them to just be sit-down chats. Subscribe, like, comment. And if you are interested in coaching, I offer one-on-one online coaching. And I also have programs that I sell off of Train Heroic. They're awesome. They are all strength for running programs. And you can take a quiz. If you don't know which program's right for you, take the quiz. Quizzes are fun. And you'll be able to find out which one is going to be best suited for you and your goals, because we want you to accomplish everything you need to accomplish, and we want you to be strong and show up to the starting line feeling good and confident in what you are doing. So, that being said, I'll see you guys next time.